Okay, we're live now, gentlemen. Sorry, I had to be ashamed. Despite being a IT guy, I faced a lot of technical issues. Finally,
Never let computers know you're in a hurry.
so I would like to welcome my beloved teacher of life, Johnny Soporno, who I met 8 years ago. You won't see my face because it's not necessary. I want to focus all my attention on Johnny. And the reason I wanted to interview Johnny is to perhaps share what has been changed in my life, and then ask him a couple of questions. We actually got a question from Andreas Rabak. He was part of the immersion that I attended, where I met Ankush. So first of all, the thing, I'm Igor. You know me. I have.
I do.
Yes, yes. I have been involved in the IT industry for a long time, and I struggled with confidence, with approach anxiety, and of course, what caught my attention with regards to Johnny was a lot of testimonials. One of the most or highest regard I held in my highest regard was Alex May, you know, the Russian guy. He actually attended a immersion before me.
In fact, Alex has been very, very dear to me. I spent many hours on Skype with him a couple of days ago, bringing him up to speed on some answers to some questions that I've been tasking him and that he wanted to be able to bring to a new market. He's been very successful in Russia and in Amsterdam and traveling throughout Europe, teaching masculine confidence and presence.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. It was wonderful. Sorry, every time Violet walks past me,
I can understand that.
15 years together, and I still have to check her out every time she walks by. Okay?
That's wonderful.
It really is.
So as I was saying, Alex introduced or sold me you as a person, and then I checked out the videos that you posted, the 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I was interested in what you had to say because of the way you were presenting. What I was hoping to get out of the successfulness was ability to experience the open relationships. What was interesting for me is that I actually got a new perspective on success, and I learned about your enlightenment experience, which we got to talking about. I think not too many people noticed that your nickname or one of the accounts that you are on the Facebook is Lifestyle Bodhisattva, and you actually shared an experience that yeah, it caught my attention. So this is Johnny, you know, and
I'm delighted to be here. I'm really happy to be talking to the men's immersion or the men's
powerful men's
empowerment
group.
groups. Yep. I'm tremendously proud of the many men who are participants in this group that are already people who have come and worked with me before. I take sublime pleasure in seeing the echoes of my influence through the people who then take what I've been able to help them come to appreciate, build upon it, and bring it out into the world. But the most gratifying part is that though at first some people, because of my presentation style, at first some people don't appreciate the degree to which what I've brought to them was something they could use. But after a little while, as their paradigm changes, as the underlying principles of life begin to sort themselves out and their appreciation of reality and their relationship to reality changes, the positive and affirmative responses from everyone has been so overwhelming, and it makes me feel 15 feet tall. It makes me feel 5 meters tall, and life is pretty great. So I think I am still the only professional personal development coach anywhere who offers a lifetime money-back satisfaction guarantee to all his clients. And this has worked out very well for me for the last 15 years or so, in that I've had basically totally satisfied clients across the board, with so few exceptions that the couple of them stick out in my mind, and I feel anxious and guilty to myself for not having been able to bring them around to appreciate the stuff that I had to share. So I have a lot of fun, as you say, in that bodhisattva role. I could just dive into my navel and escape this world and go directly to nirvana and not have to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
But as long as there are people out there who are looking for guidance, people who are hopeful and enthusiastic about living a better, happier life, enjoying themselves, accepting themselves, appreciating themselves, then it is my great pleasure and honor to help walk them away from all of the unnecessary bullshit that has kept them down, the unreal stories that they have had that have prevented them from acknowledging and accepting their own internal appreciations, wisdom, gifts, from forgiving themselves so they could go ahead with their lives and live proud and happy and successful.
I see.
So my model of success begins with understanding that if you were to follow back linguistically the word success, if you look it up in any language, in all languages, the concept of success has been perverted in the minds of people. It used to be one succeeded the thing that came before it. Each prince would succeed the king and become king themselves. It was a chain of succession. This person, then this person. And each success was the next stage, the next step.
Yeah.
So to achieve a success used to be to make an attempt and get a result.
Yeah.
So every action, invariably, every attempt yields a success. Whether a positive success or a negative success is something to determine after the fact.
Yeah.
But every attempt one makes is one in a succession of successive successes, each one succeeding the last. So the word is pretty clearly there. Okay? Right?
Yes.
So we have polluted the idea of success in our current mindset so that the word success, though if you look it up in dictionary.com or any other dictionary, it will say success originally meant outcome.
Yeah.
Okay? Now success means a favorable or ideal outcome. So by adding in the pollution of adding the positive aspect in our minds, when the opportunity comes up to try something, if we're not confident we're going to have an ideal or at least positive result,
I see.
we think it's not a success. We don't recognize that the only way to learn, to develop, to become better at anything is first to be prepared to do it, even though you don't know you can do it yet. Okay? You cannot learn a language without beginning by not knowing that language.
Yeah. That's yeah.
You cannot learn a new skill or increase your qualifications in a skill without being willing to attempt things you have not done yet. This is the only way to grow and develop Of course, it's necessary to pay attention to what you do in your attempts and correct for them if it turns out those attempts are not working the way you'd like. That's how you get positive, ideal successes. But first, you must be willing to put in the time, even though you know that when you try, it might not work out the way you meant. Now, you see, the problem is the ego of men and women accepts the notion that if you try something and it doesn't work, you have failed. Okay, so people think the opposite of a success is a failure, right? Either you succeed or you fail. Just a sec. Follow this down. The truth is, every attempt yields an outcome, a success. Always. Every attempt yields a success. Sometimes it's a success we wouldn't like, but sometimes it's a success that's not terrible. Sometimes it's a success that's pretty good, and sometimes it's a success that shows us that we're just about there to having a perfect, ideal success. And once in a while, through blind luck, it is a perfect success right from the first time we try. Now, with this in mind, a person becomes successful only after they've made a lot of attempts. You become full of successes as you go through life trying more and more and more things. When I was young, one of my mentors said to me, "Johnny, go out and make as many mistakes as you can. Just being careful never to make the same mistake more than once." And I understood this because I realized you cannot make the same mistake twice. The second time, it's a choice. So when I say, for example, I'm never embarrassed because I never do anything I wouldn't do, this is not limiting. There are a zillion things I would do, and only very few things I wouldn't do, and I wouldn't do them because either I recognize that I cannot have a positive outcome from them, or I recognize I've tried before and that doesn't work. So the only things to be embarrassed by are actual failures, and actual failures only come from one thing.
Stopping trying.
Actual failure. Pardon me?
Stopping trying.
You got it. The only thing that guarantees a failure is no attempt. Anything that you attempt yields a result, an outcome. The result, and I'm very pleased that our very dear friend, or at least I'm certain my very dear friend, Jamie Smart, entitled the sequel to Clarity, Results, which was a bit of an inside joke as far as I was concerned. He wrote a very sweet commentary on me in it. I was very pleased in the acknowledgments. But Jamie knows very well, because we've discussed this many times, that every attempt yields a result. That result is a success, no matter what it is. Okay? You only fail
if you don't
when you stop making attempts and recognize no more attempts are possible. So if you're a medical surgeon and you're looking into a patient, you're trying to keep him alive. And so you try something because it makes sense to you. And it doesn't work out the way you'd like. So you try something else. Your patient is still alive on the table. You try something else to see if you can rescue this patient. And that doesn't work. So you try something else. And that doesn't work. And the patient finally dies. Then only when you can no longer make another attempt are you able to say, well, I failed. Now, any doctor who tries and tries and tries and doesn't make it work and punishes himself is a foolish doctor, because you can't always pull everything off. Okay? Guy shoots himself in the mouth with a gun, but his heart is still beating and his brain is still active. This does not necessarily mean that even if you're the greatest doctor in the history of man, you can always be sure you can bring that person around. Okay? So of course, it has everything to do with whether or not you are willing to set aside any egoic concern for how you'll look to the rest of the world for trying something that might not work. Right? I tell men when they're looking, and you talked about approach and connecting with women and anxieties and things. I tell men, when you see a woman who is attractive and beautiful to you, all you know about her is that she looks good to you.
Yeah.
She knows absolutely nothing about you. So when you make peace in your mind that going over and starting a conversation with her sounds like a pretty good idea to you, because the worst thing that will happen is nothing. And you can guarantee nothing will happen just by not going over there. Okay? So if you're not prepared to fail by letting your ego tell you, oh, no, if you go over there, she's going to diss you like a cockroach. She's going to tell you you're terrible. She wants someone richer and younger and taller and healthier with better hair and much more money and an expensive car, a nice house. No, she just wants someone who likes himself and doesn't feel guilty and anxious about coming over to her, to come over and say hi and see how she's doing. She's probably lonesome, because the more beautiful and more compellingly attractive a woman appears, the more men are scared off, because their egos say, if you go and make a shot and it doesn't work, you're going to feel terrible about yourself. Yeah. Everyone's going to look down at you. Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Say again?
Actually, that's one of the things that I took away, and it allowed me to see the reality through the eyes of the woman, of the beautiful woman. The fact that she's beautiful actually makes any man that allows himself to approach her stand out, because there are not too many occurrences. Exactly. And even if they do, they usually are shivering and thinking and double guessing themselves. So yeah.
Here's the thing. Women have evolved to be able to sense how a man feels about himself, what he thinks about himself, from across the room. When a man who knows he owns his shit, okay, he is the person he believes he should be. He has made peace with the collection of whatever number of successes he's had that were not desirable. Okay, all of the attempts he has made that were miserable and didn't work, he has made peace with them. He recognizes what mistakes are, and that mistakes are something you use to learn and refine so that you make fewer and fewer of them as you go forward. Right? The mechanism of human evolution is we try something, it works, we repeat it. We try something, it doesn't work, we tend not to repeat it. At least smart people.
Yeah.
Okay? Practical people. Now, when a man totally knows who he is, feels no part of himself going, oh no, I'm not good enough for that girl. Look how hot she is. She could have any man she wanted. You see, an enlightened man recognizes that he also could have any woman he wants. And women intuitively understand that any man who owns his shit, who knows who he is confident in himself, who knows how to make decisions and is willing to lead, who loves and adores women and is interested in her as an individual, is going to be welcome to as much of her attention and time as he wants. Okay. She knows he can have any woman he wants. One of the things that's funny is nearly 15 years ago when I recorded Seductive Reasoning 101, which is the video that I'm still sharing now and is viewed constantly. In it, I speak about the first question that I get asked by women, or the question I am most frequently asked by women, and then the second question I'm most frequently asked by women. The first question I'm most asked by women is, why aren't more men like you? Right? They're not asking me why they're not like me in particular. They mean, why aren't more men self-accepting, courteous, thoughtful, direct, uninhibited, respectful, appreciative, attentive, and confident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second question they ask is usually just before we leave to go to my place or their place or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They say, "Why me?" They're asking, "You could have any woman in this place. Why did you choose me?" At which point I look at them like they're crazy and think, "Because you're you. I'm interested in you because you're you. All of the things that make you up are interesting to me.
Yeah.
Attractive, alluring, charming, thoughtful. I'm interested in you." And the women say, "Let's go." Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I learned this when I was 150 kilos. Okay. Now I'm about 185 centimeters tall. So on 150 kilos is big, like ridiculously big.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys figure, well, you could be fat if you're really tall. I'm fairly tall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it never mattered to women how I looked. What matters to women is what they sense about my self-acceptance. A
Mm-hmm.
man who is 175 centimeters tall, 170 centimeters tall, 165 centimeters tall, if he loves himself, appreciates himself,
Mm-hmm.
treasures himself, and is willing to lead, loves women, and is interested in them as individuals, he will have an endless supply of women who will love him. Some of them will be shorter than he is. Some of them will be taller than he is. It doesn't make a difference. Being attractive looking gets a man about 45 seconds worth of attention from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? During which time she will suss out whether or not her initial interpretation of your self-confidence and self-acceptance was justified,
Mm-hmm.
and whether the person you are is confident or just arrogant. Okay? Confidence is a sublime internalized sensation of reality in that how you view yourself, what you imagine of yourself, your self-esteem, has been demonstrated by your experience. Reality has shown you you are the person you imagine yourself to be. When a person becomes the person they imagine themselves to be and they're happy with that, they've arrived. Okay? And it doesn't matter if they're going to continue developing and on a journey that will increase their world. When you feel that you are the person you imagine you should be, you begin to radiate successfulness. Successfulness is the sensation that is generated by a person who feels they have earned their self-comfort and self-confidence, and they are happy. Magical combination.
Yeah. May I ask you a question?
Oh no, I don't answer. Of course you can ask anything.
You were talking about being at peace with yourself, about admiring women, about being confident, about being okay in your own skin, basically being at peace. I can imagine guys, listening to this and they're like, okay, so I have to be confident. I need to love women, and they approach this as a set of techniques, perhaps even writing these down.
I'd love for them to write them down,
Hmm.
but they need to expand them.
How?
Okay, so there are 4 things that every woman believes about a man with whom she feels she is in love.
Hmm.
4 things. 3 of them are necessary for a woman to become aroused by a man.
Hmm.
Very important distinction here. Being attractive gets you a moment of attention. Being interesting gets you a little more attention.
Hmm.
Being arousing gets you a woman's sexual interest. Okay? A man doesn't become arousing by being impressive.
Hmm.
He is impressive because he is arousing without effort. Okay? So the difference is, let's presume some guy figures he needs to be a bodybuilder in order to be impressive. So he works out and he gets huge biceps and huge shoulders, and then he meets women who are aroused by the look, but if they're not interested in him, if they don't enjoy him as a person, their willingness to engage will very quickly drop off. Okay? Whereas if a man, because there are plenty of men who are the entire everything all at once. They're fit, they're healthy, they're intelligent, they're independent, they're wealthy, they're wonderful. They're Elon Musk, for lack of a better term, except in better shape. However, none of us know their names because they get consumed almost instantly.
Yeah.
So, on a serious note, there are an unlimited number, effectively, of women who are anxiously searching for men who will demonstrate these 4 things. So let me say what they are.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the first one is, a man must establish himself as a confident masculine presence. Okay, he must be happy to be male, happy to take on the role of being the man, okay, not intimidated by the obligations that come along with that. Happy to be masculine. Now, this can also be a woman with a very masculine temperament. She'll be attractive and compelling to partners who crave the masculine. Okay? So let's not get tied up to specific sex, because this applies equally to masculine lesbians, and the other side applies equally to feminine homosexual males. Okay? There's the masculine and the feminine within people. A person who is a confident masculine presence, okay, who knows who he is and loves and respects himself. Number one, he must love and respect himself, accepting his shortcomings, knowing that he must and does find ways to get around his failings, right? His insufficiencies, perceived or real. He believes he is enough. He doesn't suffer from delusions of inadequacy.
Okay.
Okay? Think about that. Lots of people talk about delusions of grandeur, where you imagine you're much better than you are. But way more people suffer from delusions of being insufficient.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. That's what we all solve. We're trying to resolve, yeah.
Delusions of inadequacy, fear of success, unwillingness to take the next step. Okay? So, in order for a man to be compelling and attractive to women, to be arousing, to be the man she imagines herself as being in love with, he must have gotten past that. He must love and respect himself, being unwilling to bend, but willing to compromise. Okay? He will not allow her to manipulate him. He will stand his ground. Okay? So women treasure men who believe in themselves and stand their ground. Women have nothing but contempt for men who they can manipulate. Okay? Does that seem right to you?
Yeah.
Okay, women crave strength in a partner, and strength is denied by the man's inability to stand up to her.
Yeah.
So if she's trying to push your boundaries beyond what you're comfortable with, and you give in, not because she has earned it and said, please do this for me, honey, I know this is something you're uncomfortable with, please do it for me, in which case it's up to you. You can say sure. Okay? Long as there's an established contract of appreciation. Okay? Where what you're saying is, I will do this for you if you ask, because you have earned that, or I know you'll make it up to me. Okay? But women will often try and manipulate men without having to ask. Oh, come on, this is going to be fun. You want to do it. You're going to have a great time. No, I really don't want to wear a ballerina's outfit and go to your company Christmas party. Oh, come on, it's going to be great. Well, honey, if this matters enough to you, I will accept that. I will do this for you as a favor. Oh, no, it's not that. Look, if it's not going to be something fun for you, I don't want you to do it. It's just, I know you're going to have fun. Well, the moment you give in and let her make the decision for you, she stops respecting you as a man, and you stop being sexy boyfriend, and you become husband material. Right? The difference is, husband material is a man who takes on the role of hubby, and hubby is semantically equivalent to daddy, and daddy is the economic and social sponsor of a woman, to whom her job, her duty, is not to be caught doing anything daddy doesn't like. Right from childhood, every girl is raised to understand what daddy doesn't know won't hurt him. So every girl learns from the earliest that her job, in order to maintain happy daddy, happy life, is to make sure that she keeps away from daddy the things he doesn't want to know. And the good news is daddy so much doesn't want to know them, he'll let her weasel around things by using very loose language. And so every girl learns at an early age how to equivocate, how to retask the meanings of words so that she can answer a question not dishonestly, but misrepresentatively.
Okay.
You didn't have any sex while I was out of town, did you? No, Daddy, that's not the question you have to ask. What you have to ask is, did I sleep with anyone? Because I didn't sleep with anyone. If you ask me if I had sex, that's a real problem. Then I have to dig deeper and decide that it's not really sex if we used a condom. It's not really sex if I gave the guy my last name, or unless I gave the guy
my last name,
contact information or whatever. So women can retask the meanings of words to allow them to guiltlessly tell you what you want to hear rather than telling you what you don't want to hear. So knowing this about women and loving and respecting and appreciating them anyway is a critical component. That's actually the third on the list. First on the list is you must love and respect yourself and be unwilling to override your boundaries except where there's a contract for appreciation, where you know you are being appreciated and it is clear to both sides that she recognizes this is outside of normal and it's only happening because she asked and she's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay? So the first one is you must be a confident masculine presence who loves and respects himself, accepts his history, doesn't carry all the shit he's been through. He's made his peace with it, taken just the essential bits out of it by digesting it, and then left the shit at the side of the road so he can walk away and not have to have the smell of all his lifetime of shit with him. It's a terrible cologne.
Yeah.
Okay? So think of the men you've known who represent that first category. Okay? Of the four, I'm going to come to the others in a moment. Of the four, think about what percentage of men you imagine love and respect themselves, accepting their history, their failures, recognizing the person they are now and the person that is going forward from where they are, has paid the price of taking all these steps, proving things worked or didn't work, moving away from the stuff that was a waste of time and useless. They love themselves, they respect and admire themselves, they accept themselves, they have forgiven themselves for their mistakes, and they move forward confidently. So what percentage of men do you imagine is that?
I would say 5%.
Sure, let's say it's 1 in 20. 1 in 20 men have made peace with themselves to that point. They like themselves, they're confident, they're happy with going forward, they understand their mistakes, and they've made peace with them. 1 in 20.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you ever wonder why there are so many women out there who complain they can't find a guy, it's because the only guys they're interested in have at least that 1 in 20. Okay? So now we get to the second one. The man must be confident enough and comfortable enough to make decisions and lead. Lead himself and whomever else he has taken responsibility for on, as Zan would say, adventures that they would enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, our friend Zan says, a woman doesn't want to be your adventure. She wants to be taken on an adventure. I point out to men all the time, if you feel incomplete without a woman, you will never find a woman.
Yeah.
Because a woman needs for a man to be complete before she wants to attach herself to him.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're describing that women are actually after a man who loves and respects himself, knows who he is, accepts his failures, has figured out how to work past them, gets on with life happily, standing up for himself. Also, he makes decisions and leads himself and whomever he will assume responsibility for on adventures they would enjoy. So now we've got 5% of all men and then maybe 50% of those men who actually are able to make decisions and lead and are confident and comfortable and will take responsibility for women. So we're now out of 100 men down to 2.5 men that will be compellingly attractive to women. And by the way, it has nothing at all to do with the men's looks. Nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
The only thing that matters in terms of looks for men, in presentation, the man must look like he meant to look that way, and he must not smell bad. Those two things are uniform for women. As long as a man looks like he meant to look that way, and he's self-accepting, he will still be able to get their attention, and they will see right past any insufficiencies.
I see.
Okay? So now we come to the third thing. The man must love and appreciate women. He must harbor no hostility towards them, no thinking, oh, women are all bitches and whores, and they're trying to take advantage of us. Like so many men in the men going their own way movement have become angry with women instead of recognizing that women can go their own way, men can go their own way, sometimes they can go their own way together. I've been with my very best friend and most favorite playmate for the last 15 years, living a fantastic life with literally no restrictions except for the ones that are automatic. Like, I never do anything that I believe would upset her, but I talk about everything in my world, so she knows the names and the looks and the details about every other girl I meet and flirt with and go to bed with, and she's fine with it. Sometimes she says, I'd like to meet her. Often she says, you go have your fun. She doesn't sound like someone I'd like much. Fine, couldn't be better. She tells me all her details. She asks me, what do you think of this guy? I say, look, if you're turned on by him and he doesn't fuck it up, by all means, knock yourself out. Have a great time. Right? All I want in my world is for the people I love and treasure to be happy and fulfilled and have the biggest lives they can. Okay? So the first three, loving oneself, being able and confident to lead, loving and appreciating women without any anger or acrimony, recognizing that the way women are, including the games that they've been raised to play, are beautiful and sexy in their way, and that you can get past them through open communication so that they aren't a hazard. Okay? When you've got those first three, every girl will become aroused by you. Every girl. It's funny, Zan and I have gone out together and met women, each of us knowing that any of the groups of women would go to bed with either of us as a group of women. As an individual, any one of them would have gone to bed with either of us, and any one of them would have gone to bed with whichever of us was available, or they would have gone to bed with us together, okay, if we'd wanted them to. Because when a woman meets a tiger, okay, a sexy, masculine, dominant, not domineering, not bossy, not pushy, but clearly someone who knows what they want, knows what they're after, knows how to get it, is not inhibited or ashamed to be expressive, who will make a woman feel like she can hand over the keys, okay, hand over the reins. He will get them to where they want to be. She goes, oh, thank goodness, this is what I've always wanted. Take me, do what you want with me. Okay? The trouble is, most of the time when a woman meets a man she sees as that sort, immediately afterwards she goes, it took me so long to find this tiger, I'm going to get him into my house and I'm going to close all the doors, I'm going to lock him in and not let him out.
Domesticate him.
Exactly. And not long after that, he stops being a tiger. He becomes a very big, very expensive, very unhappy house pet. Okay? And the litter box problems, infinito. Okay? So women don't recognize that they cannot geld their stallion and still have a stallion.
Yeah.
And if you have a stallion, you need to understand that his job is to go out and to mount every mare he sees. He doesn't come back to the same mare every time. That's not in his biological programming. Okay? So the truth is,
And the fourth?
or the fourth one, that's the special one. That's the magic. That's the magic ingredient. Okay.
Give me the magic.
The fourth one is that one needs to be actively interested in the individual they're paying attention to. So if a man is with a woman and they are in love, the woman will invariably say, oh yes, he's the kind of guy who could have any woman he wanted. Okay? Think about yourselves. Okay? I'm sure this is true for you, Igor. Think about yourselves, fellas. Any one of you who's been with a woman who's in love with you, she would describe you as a man who could have any woman he wanted.
Yeah, I get that a lot from my wife.
Okay? Now, why? Because she knows you are self-loving, self-confident, self-accepting, and self-appreciating. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Masculine presence like that radiates. That's the 1 in 20.
Mm-hmm.
Then, okay, you're comfortable and confident enough to make decisions and lead. That makes you half of that 1 in 20. So 1 in 40. Okay? Then you love and appreciate women. You're attracted to them, interested in them. You like them, and you don't hold them in disregard for all their cultural issues.
Yeah.
Okay? So now you've gotten to a very, very small percentage of people, and then she knows any woman who meets you would be interested in having you pay attention to her as an individual.
So this is where the question, why me, comes from.
Right.
Okay.
Why me? Why are you, who have these three, interested in me? So
Okay.
when it's clear the reason you're interested, you want to know who she is, what she's about, what turns her on, what upsets her, where she'd like to be in 10 years, in 30 years, whether she wants to be a grandmother or she wants to be a business executive, whether she wants to find some way of doing both. As you learn what matters to her, would she recognize this T-shirt and think, oh, Che Guevara, notable communist? Or would she recognize, oh, Che Guevara as an NPC, a non-player character? This is meant as a joke on the people who have no idea what a monster Che Guevara was or how awful communism is. Just want to make that out there in case anyone didn't get that from the beginning.
Please don't. Let's not go into politics.
Sure. But I want to make sure I don't have to put up with students coming to me whose minds are so broken that they don't understand simple rules of life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when a man has the first three, his own woman, as long as he maintains those, will constantly be trying to ensure she remains interesting to him.
Yeah.
She will keep investing energy as long as he continues to demonstrate those first three.
Mm-hmm.
If a man stops demonstrating any of those first three, he stops demonstrating that he's prepared to stand up for himself.
Mm-hmm.
He stops demonstrating that he respects himself. He stops demonstrating a happy confidence. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The girl will try and bolster him for a little while, but very quickly she will feel very disappointed. She will feel robbed. Here she has found the perfect man, and now look what's happened to him. Okay?
Yeah.
So it is essential for the man not to allow himself to stop being a confident masculine presence who owns his shit and knows who he is. He must never stop making decisions. He must never lose his sublime central confidence, even if he makes a number of decisions that maybe weren't so great. Okay? Because sometimes you lose your independence when you've had a series of non-desirable results. The truth is, you need to step back,
And start
sometimes
over.
talk it over with your partner, certainly talk it over with your friends, talk it over with people whom you consider valuable, seek out consultants,
Yeah.
look to mentors. Nobody has all the answers.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? I will call Alex May. I will call Jamie Smart. I will call any of the people who are comfortable calling me. I'll call Ankush to get feedback and get their insights and help
Mhm.
me. By no means am I perfect, but I'm good enough for now. Okay? And you can go through life very happily, never being perfect, so long as you're good enough for now.
I understand. Johnny, our
So
time is almost running up.
ask your questions.
I do have two things. Thank you for very descriptively pulling me back into the basics of the four trades of man. I do have two questions for you. First is it's actually related to what you were talking about, and it was raised by Andras Rabak. You were talking about the confident man, and he was asking, what about the pride, the hubris? You know?
Okay. Confidence is always sincere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Sincerity, sincere, comes from Latin.
Mm-hmm.
When a sculptor would make a marble sculpture,
Mm-hmm.
if he accidentally grooved in too far,
Mm-hmm.
he would put wax into the crevices so it would look finished. And we'd shine it up, it would look like it was supposed to. But part of it would have a mistake that was hidden by the wax.
Mm-hmm.
Sine cere. Sincere means without wax.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
When you,
so when confidence is genuine, it's because you have made attempts that worked in your mind. You thought, this makes sense to me. I'm going to try this. You tried it. You did it. You said, yes, I can do this. Then further challenges came along and you said, well, I could do that. I expect if I could do that, I could extrapolate it to I could do this. So you try that and it works. And then you can be confident of that. Confidence comes from experimentation and development and insight.
and the hubris?
Hubris comes from where in your mind you'd like to think this is true, but you haven't actually tested it. And so with arrogance, which is an opposite, okay, antithetical to confidence, with arrogance,
Mm-hmm.
which is presenting yourself as though you had genuine confidence, where you have not tested, you have not demonstrated, you do not know.
Okay, so you're putting up a facade.
Well, so let's follow this down. Can you leap 2 meters?
No.
I bet you could. I bet if you stood up right now and you put a line 2 meters away,
Oh, you mean to
just to
okay.
leap, to jump 2
Okay,
meters.
in front. I
Okay?
was thinking of.
Not up.
Okay.
There are very few people who will ever be able to accomplish that.
Okay, 2 meters I can.
Okay, you're pretty confident of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I put you on the top of a Manhattan building, 70 stories above the ground, and there was a building adjacent to it 2 meters away, you wouldn't hesitate to jump from one building to the other, knowing that if you were mistaken, you would fall to certain death.
I would not jump, of course not.
Well, what if you needed to? I mean, if you're truly confident, you'd look at it and say, this is nothing. I could do that. Hubris is where you say, oh, sure, it would be no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get up to the top of the building, and then even if you have the confidence you could jump 2 meters on flat land
Mhm.
where there was no risk in the event you didn't make it. And then someone says, okay, jump. And you sit there and you say, fuck that shit, no way. Okay?
I
So
see.
the difference is You can arrogantly say, "Oh, I would have done better than that," when you're watching some professional sportsman. But the truth of the matter is, the reason he's a professional sportsman, even if sometimes he makes a mistake and you are not, is because he's out there prepared to do it for real.
Yeah, yeah. By the
And
way, Arthur Oysett just wrote that 1.8 meters he can jump, so he would not jump 2 meters.
that's probably wise.
Two more questions. J Deep was asking, what about hesitation? I would like to know if you have any insights on hesitation and what allows an effortless streak of success is.
Well, okay. There's a wonderful expression: he who hesitates is last. Most of the time they say who hesitates is lost, but the truth is, hesitation isn't an unrealistic thing. I am confident I could jump 2 meters. I am also confident I could jump 2 meters between two buildings, but I need a pretty compelling reason to do it. Okay, I'm confident I could do it. I'm not talking about from a standstill. I'm talking about with a couple of meters of running.
Okay.
Okay. I could maybe do 2 meters from a stand, but I'm certainly not about to give that a try where my life is on the line.
Yeah.
Okay. But all other things being equal, hesitation is normal and natural and rational. However, to hesitate where you already have a reason to believe in yourself, to hesitate when you're already confident, is unnatural. When you go to open the door between one room and another, you seldom hesitate unless you have a reason to expect that there's something that will surprise you on the other side of the door. Right? If you've been through a door 50 times and one time someone else was trying to come in the door and you inadvertently opened the door into them, you might think, oh, well, I should listen carefully so that I don't accidentally open the door into someone who's walking past. But what kind of hesitation is that? A moment's hesitation? A microsecond's hesitation? Or do you stand at the door and listen and listen and listen before you make a decision? For most people, the quantity of hesitation becomes shorter and shorter and shorter with experience. Okay, and recognition that the downside of an imperfect execution is that someone was jostled for a few moments and it wasn't a big deal. So unless you're trying to break into a museum with laser protection and things like this, usually the hesitation is going to be very trivial. Okay? Oh, I'd like to go say hello to that person. Maybe I shouldn't. Fuck it, I'm going to do it. That kind of hesitation is fine.
Yeah. So what you're saying, the hesitation is addressed by going through the successes.
Right. Recognizing that the risk of not taking the action is certainty of failure. The risk of taking the action and having it not perfect is perhaps you won't get another attempt. Okay? Perhaps you'll make a first impression that will be substandard, and you'd like for your first impression to be very good. So sometimes hesitation is fair. You go, she's hot. Yeah, my breath isn't very good. This is not a perfect time to go and talk to her. I'm going to go to the bathroom and see if I can fix my breath. You know? So you can hesitate and resign yourself to no further action, or you can hesitate to regroup and increase your likelihood of a positive outcome.
Okay.
As long as you're not hesitating chronically for no reason, not indulging your ego's fear of your making an attempt that doesn't work perfectly, because your ego, for most people, will always try to prevent you from trying anything new, because anything new has the potential of not working. And if it doesn't work, your ego feels humiliated. And your ego's only job is to keep you from doing anything that will make it diminish.
Go away.
Okay? Your ego is an avatar, a representation of yourself. that you have imbued with the ability to communicate to you. Okay, some people give it the ability to speak, and it'll speak nonstop, saying,
Yeah.
I don't have to listen to that guy, he's fat and furry and old and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, your ego will step in to intercede and stop you because it's afraid that if you make an attempt that doesn't work perfectly, it will be embarrassing, and that will make you small in the view of other people. And your ego is only as large as it projects other people assess it.
I see.
Okay? If your ego thinks you're small, insignificant, weak, it will do everything it can to keep you from being noticed by other people.
I see.
Because it's traumatized by the notion that other people will see you as even weaker than that, and that will make your ego small. So your ego's only job is to defend your preconceptions by preventing you from doing anything new.
So at the same time, keeping you in the past or pulling you into future.
Well, it pulls you into the past where it's safe. It won't get any smaller.
Yeah.
But there are countless people people I know, who go away on a trip, have sex with some random, come back, start feeling itches, and they don't want to go see the doctor because they'll be embarrassed. And they may wait way too long to get treatment until maybe they've even infected someone they have a relationship with,
Oh, yeah.
rather than go see the doctor because that would be embarrassing and humiliating having to admit it. That's crazy. Okay, people will fuck up their future because their ego is so afraid of the potential of their being embarrassed. Most men will not walk up to a pretty girl and start a conversation for fear that starting a conversation with a stranger that doesn't end up with their deciding to go to bed with you or give you their number somehow makes you less.
I see.
Whereas the truth is, starting a conversation up with anyone where you go in with the intention to be kind and get to know that person and share yourself with them, that is always a positive, happy thing. Even if the other person responds poorly, it's still a noble, honorable, powerful gesture on your part. You went over to let that person know that you care,
Yeah.
that you're interested.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would walk up to a girl and I would try and start a conversation with her, and she'd say, "What do you want, fat man?" Or effectively, "What do you want, baldy?" Or whatever. She would say something disrespectful and unpleasant. And I would say, whoa, hey, I don't know who pissed in your Cheerios this morning, honey, but I promise you it wasn't me. I'm just over here trying to make friends. And the girl goes, "Oh my God, what an asshole I was. I'm so sorry." Hey, no, I understand. You get hit on by a zillion guys. I just want to find out whether or not we've got any communication possibility, Let's see whether we can be friends. I think it was Voltaire who said, "Give me 5 minutes to talk away my ugly face, and I could bed the Queen of France." There's a lot to be said for that.
Oh, yeah. Johnny, we're approaching 1 hour, which is way more than we originally planned.
I'm sorry.
No.
This never happens. I'm always so...
No, yeah,
able to
it never happened. Violet will be angry with me, or will she?
Hi, you should know that Violet is so pleased that I'm doing this. She still loves meeting the guys, watching their transformation, sometimes sleeping with them after they become the people that she would like them to be. The truth of the matter is, I always say, I am never, ever intimidated or afraid of Violet's meeting someone that would take her away from me, even though she has 100% my blessings on enjoying anyone she likes. I have no contract holding Violet to me. I just endeavor always to be her best option.
Yeah.
Okay, I stay as wonderful a person as I can be for her, totally loving myself, totally comfortable leading, totally adoring women, including her and other women, and being very, very interested in her life. And this is why we're happy together 15 years in to a non-standard, non-exclusive relationship that works beautifully. Now, the thing about it is, what I need for Violet is for her to enjoy herself, for her to have the best time possible, for her to feel fulfilled and alive and vibrant. So whether Violet says to me, I want to go out with a bunch of my girlfriends and see this new chick flick, okay, this new movie for girls, I'll say, knock yourself out, babe. Have a great time. Do whatever it is that makes you feel happy. I'm really glad you're doing this, and thank you for finding a way to do it without needing to involve me. As long as you're happy and safe, I am overwhelmingly pleased. I will encourage you to do whatever. And if she goes out and meets some musical band and decides to be the centerpiece of their bukkake orgy, calls me up and says, babe, I'm going to be out late. I say, knock yourself out, babe. Have a great time. I'm super happy you're doing whatever it is that makes you feel happy. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I'll be happy to come pick you up afterwards. Knock yourself out. Have a great time. And I'm really glad you found a way to do this without needing to involve me. So all I want for her is for her to feel my complete acceptance and appreciation, my non-judgmentalness, okay, my enthusiasm for her to enjoy herself. So let's imagine Violet goes out and meets the best guy she could imagine. He would have to be everything I am and more in order to be someone who would really capture her attention. Now let's presume she met a guy who was all the things I am, and better looking, wealthier, better established, more physically fit, whatever. Now, one thing I know about that man, without having ever met him or having any idea that he exists, is if he was everything I am, one thing he would never, ever want would be to stop Violet from also being with me. In other words, any man who would be all the things I am would never, ever insist that Violet be exclusive to him. Any man who would say to Violet, you can have everything you want in the world as long as I'm your only man, Violet would say, that sounds really great, and thank you so much, but I gotta go. I'd love to stay and chat, but there's all these other guys I gotta go see. Okay?
Okay. This is so unbelievable, but yet I know it's true. One last question. It's from Arthur, whom you will be actually meeting in a couple of weeks' time.
What? He's going to discover I actually exist in the real world?
Johnny, how do I...
film footage.
The question, Johnny, how do I or other guys cultivate this? What can we do to stay on cultivate the qualities that you were talking about?
Let's start with first things. Very first thing. Before you can be a man who accepts himself, appreciates himself, values himself, treasures himself, okay? Before you can be one of that 1 in 20, a man who knows who he is, accepts who he is, believes who he is appropriate for where he is in his life, is happy with himself, stands his ground, is prepared to compromise where someone earns it and asks for it explicitly, but who is, in fact, showing up in the world as a person who is willing to be the strong, confident tower that other people can rely upon. Okay? These masculine traits. Before a person can get to that place, they have to come to accept themselves as they are, throwing away the bullshit, and being willing to no longer hide from themselves. They have to be the sort of person who, if they met themselves, would immediately want themselves as a friend. Okay? Igor, today, if you met yourself, would you want yourself as a friend?
Oh, I would. I'm no Groucho Marx.
Precisely. You would immediately go, oh, this guy's awesome. I'm so happy to know a guy like this. Even knowing all of your deepest, darkest secrets, all of the mistakes you've made in your life, all of the things you've done that you aren't proud of having done, but you have reason to be proud of no longer doing.
Yeah.
Right? So any man must get to a place in his world where if he were to meet himself, would he want to know himself? Fuck yeah. Holy shit, I spend my life desperately looking for more people like me. They don't have to be just like me, but like me, they have to love and respect themselves. They must be competent and confident because of their competency.
Yeah.
They must be able to demonstrate these things to themselves. They must not misevaluate themselves. They must not have poor expectation management. They must not expect of themselves things they cannot accomplish. Okay? When you set for yourself expectations beyond what you can demonstrate to yourself, you will always feel you're insufficient. That's crazy. Set your expectations to be exactly what you can demonstrate to yourself with best efforts. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Expect of yourself what you know you can do. Do not expect of yourself anything beyond that, but if you'd like to be able to increase your capabilities, practice, learn, test, and become better. If Arthur wants to be able to jump 1.85 meters, he could put the time in and the effort and possibly reach 1.5 meters. If not, it's fine knowing he can do a jump of 1.8 meters, which is still damned impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But don't expect of yourself things beyond what you have any reason to believe you'll be able to accomplish. If I decided, I turn 51 in 2 days. If I decided I am 6'2" and in better shape than I've been in a long time, I should become a professional basketball player. I'd be setting myself up for an awful lot of disappointment, I expect, and a lot of personal frustration.
Yeah.
If I want to go that way, instead I'll decide, you know what, I'd like to get better at basketball, and I'll join a team,
Mm-hmm.
Casually. And when I start to get to a point where everyone on the team is saying, Johnny, you're so good, you should be doing this at a bigger level, I'll join some local team. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect for myself to attain notoriety and fame in something that is generally outside of what I've ever been able to do, just because it would be nice. See? It's like deciding someone gave me a T-shirt that said, I'm a lion tamer, so I'm going to go out and get a job taming lions, because after all, I've already got the shirt.
So basically, what you're saying about how to go on and cultivate, it's coming back to the definition of the success.
Right. You manage your expectations of yourself, not accepting that you are greater than you can prove to yourself, but rather choosing to develop yourself along the track that will get you to where you'd like to be more than you know yourself to be right now. Accepting that you don't have to be any particular thing to be successful, so long as what you are doing makes you feel happy and confident in yourself. Just being on the right track and progressing should make you radiate successfulness. You don't have to have arrived at your destination to have arrived in yourself, knowing that who you are and what you're doing are the right things for you.
Yeah.
I have a friend who sits in Prague, and busks. He plays music outside of a restaurant for about 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
He gets laid like a rock star, makes much better money than he would if he were working for any place playing music, gets to try out new music and loves it. Then, when the music is well received by the audience, he plays it with his band and sometimes has musical successes with his band.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very happy guy. He's my age. He doesn't expect anything greater out of life than he earns enough money to live a comfortable life. He has a nice apartment in which he brings lots of beautiful tourists and locals who like his music and like his sense of humor. Okay, He's living very well. He is successful. Yeah. He learns, he tries, he develops new things. I'm very happy for him. I would not be successful for the person I am doing what he does, partly because I'm not anywhere near the musician he is, partly because that's not where my heart takes me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Not where my mind feels confidence in me. There are so many different things in my life I have learned how to do, many of them at a professional level, or at the very least at a level well enough that I would not feel ashamed to be asking people for money to do it, and they would not hesitate to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Maybe not Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours level.
Yeah.
There are only a half a dozen things I've put that much time into in my life, but there are plenty of things where I am certainly good enough to make a living doing them.
Yeah.
Most of them are things I'm very happy I can do, but they're not where I wish to put my investment of time or energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I love doing what I do, working with brilliant, wonderful, sweet men, many of whom have not yet come to fruition. Okay? My job is the best job in the world. I make friends for a living. Okay? People show up at my door, some assembly required. Sometimes they need my help disassembling themselves because they've put a lot of pieces in the wrong places and nothing works in their world, despite the fact they're made of exactly the same high quality parts as any successful person. Okay? So my job is to help them unbundle and help them replace things so that they can be the person they'd like to be.
Yeah. So basically,
And then I get to enjoy them. Because once they're the kind of people they should be, becoming and doing the things that they need to, they'll become the kind of people that I'll enjoy socially, people I'll like to know, people I'll be happy to have around.
You are basically making DYA friends, right?
Yeah, if you like. I like to think of it more in the bodhisattva sense. There are all these people seeking enlightenment. I'm helping them along the way, and then when they have attained enlightenment, most of them transcend and go off into their own worlds, but they also get in touch with me once in a while and say, hey, I'm coming by Vegas. Busy? I say, you need a place to stay? I'd love to have you visit. Same is true for you. Okay? My life, I help people become the people they'd like to be, and in many cases, much greater than they ever imagined. And then their appreciation of me, whether active or just my knowledge that they do appreciate it, is my fuel. It's what keeps me going. Their testimonials, their choosing, as you and Ankush have done, to feature me and help me reach a larger market, to do more work for people, is the most complimentary, most satisfying form of appreciation that I could ask for. I love my work. I love working with guys like you who afterwards are able to take my messages and put them into the minds of so many other people. And I don't ask for a cent from anyone that I've trained to be a mentor or a coach. Take the successfulness concepts, bring them out to people, make the world a better place, because I've got to live here. And I don't have the time to spread this all by myself. Get the word out. Okay? I've said for men for years, get out there and spread the word. And quite often that word will be legs. Now, with this in mind, go out, yourself, everyone. Prove to yourselves that you're the real deal, that there's no reason in the world that some woman who does not know you at all should have any negative feelings towards you, because if she knew you, she'd like you. Because after all, you know you, and you know everything about you, and you like you. There's nothing wrong with you. So stop projecting onto her that she needs someone different. What she needs is a guy who satisfies those four things.
Yeah.
And you, once you get that first one in control, okay, and prove to yourself that you have the reason to be confident and make decisions and lead, and you demonstrate your love and appreciation of women, every girl will want you to pay attention to her as an individual.
Yeah.
Guys like me, guys like Zan, Zan is a very nice-looking man. I was never a nice-looking man. But the truth has always been, it's never our looks that got girls to be involved with us for long. Okay? Zan got girls because of his looks for the first minute, and then his character kept them involved. Me, I had to rely on my character from the very first word.
And the watch.
The beautiful thing is, a woman can sense how you feel about yourself from across the room.
Yeah, this is actually what Stuart mentioned, that they're much better trained in reading the body language.
It's not even trained. They've evolved to do it.
Yeah.
Evolutionarily, the masculine alpha of a tribe, the father in the tribe, the male lion, doesn't need to seduce the females. The females make themselves available to him when it becomes clear that he looks like he knows what the fuck to do and others are following him.
Yeah.
Okay? The truth is, evolutionarily speaking, a man who knows who he is and knows what he likes will have plenty of females coming by and saying, "Would you like to hop on?" Okay? And then when and if he does and he maintains interest, they'll just orbit around him because they found what they're after.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, in our society where a man is told he must own a woman, that she is her father's property until she becomes his property, the woman therefore recognizes that she's essentially a pet. She can do anything she likes as long as she doesn't piss off her master too badly. Her master has to pick up the messes that she makes. Okay? This is no way to live. I do not look at Violet as my pet. I look at her as my peer, my best friend, the person I care about the most. Violet knows I have a very active life outside of my relationship with her, in which every single person is totally aware of how crazy I am about Violet. There are no women who have ever been to bed with me since I have been seeing Violet who do not know how crazy I am about Violet. This doesn't scare them off at all. They love that I'm a man who knows how to commit to himself. Okay, Violet and I made a commitment 15 years ago that if we ever felt that we were remaining with the other for their sake, if I ever felt for a moment that I was with Violet because Violet needed me and not because there's no place in the world I'd rather be, we would break up. Okay?
10 years
15 years, I've never, ever thought to myself, what a burden Violet is. I would be happier on my own, but I'm dedicated to taking care of her. Never, ever. Even at her very worst times, there's never been a moment, even when she's in the worst PMS ever, screaming at me irrationally over things that have nothing to do with me. I always remember at those times that this is much harder on her than it is on me, and in a couple of days she's going to feel better, and so will I. Right? The truth is, hormones are pretty powerful magic.
Yeah.
When a woman's hormones tell her she should be looking for a powerful masculine presence who loves and respects himself, who owns his shit and knows who he is, and is happy to lead on adventures she would enjoy, when her hormones are telling her, I need something like that, unless the man she's involved with on a full-time basis makes her feel that way about him all the time, she will climb into my bed. Yeah. So, knowing this, I tell men all the time, accept that unless you're prepared to keep ensuring that you always appear to have those four, and that's some work.
Yeah.
Okay? Then you can rely on times when your woman, quote unquote, is going to crave something else. It'll only be for a couple of days around the middle of her menstrual month. Okay, about 2 weeks off from her last period. And she'll be looking at every guy going, I could do him. Ooh, I could do him. Oh shit, I could do both of them at once. And ask any woman, and she will tell you, as you ask her about this, giving her that context of looking at men, seeing them for a couple of days a month, she'll get out of my head. She'll say, how do you know? Or she'll laugh out loud because she can't believe that you know.
Yeah.
I'm not making this shit up, boys, but you'll learn this on your own. In fact, I will go so far as to say in the 8 years we have known each other, Igor, in the 8 years that you have heard and seen and observed the things I have said, how many of them have I been lying about?
None at all. The thing
I'm pretty
is,
good about that.
no. It's really deep. Uh, in my life, I did not have as much experience as you shared with women admitting to that. However, I could see in their eyes when I'm talking about that, about the cycles, about the emotions, about the attractions. They
So
understand that.
women absolutely treasure a man with whom they can be honest.
Hmm.
They can't be honest with hubby
Hmm.
or daddy.
Yeah.
Their job, since they were a little girl,
Hmm.
was to keep daddy happy. And most of the way to keep daddy happy was by not letting him know when they were misbehaving, when they weren't being good girls.
Yeah.
Okay? I love women. And as Zan points out, a man who loves women is loved by women.
Yeah. Johnny.
I know we're now at 2 times the 45 minutes we've
Yes,
allocated.
exactly. I'm really, really grateful that you went on to such breadth and depth. And thank you very much for sharing this with us. In case the guys that are watching or will be watching within the group wanted to get in contact with you, what would be
Oh,
the best way to do that?
they can write to me. The easiest thing is if you're on Facebook, just add Johnny Soporno. There are several. They are all me. I will check each day to see if there are messages from them because they limit me to 5,000
Right.
contacts.
Yeah.
So I have 5 different Johnny Soporno accounts, and I pay meticulous care to make sure that none of them have anyone in them more than once, because if everyone was connected to me each time, I'd still only have 5,000 contacts. So add a Johnny Soporno, contact me at johnnysoporno.com, write to me at info@johnnysoporno.com, or most of all, go to successfulness.com, which is where you can find links to my videos and lectures and learn about upcoming workshops or learn about how to contact me for direct telephone coaching. I love to help you guys. It's what I live for. It's my only work for 15 years now. My only real work has been research and development of a paradigm and philosophy that I share with you folks.
Thank you for
It's very
being a
satisfying.
scientist. Hey,
I'm sorry.
thank you for being a proper scientist, analyzing and providing a.
It's all I know how to do. I am afraid of the scientists who decide it's one way or the other and close their minds. As far as I'm concerned, science is about finding the best reasonable explanation for now until we discover something that breaks that paradigm.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Johnny, once again, thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Say thank you and hi to Violet, and I
I shall.
hope to see you next year on the successfulness.
Absolutely. I can't wait. And of course, if you ever coming to the States, come visit.
I
We
think
always have place for you.
the same thing goes for you in case you come to Bratislava or Slovakia, or you will be traveling around. It would be my honor to show you around. I'm proud of
I
my
would be.
country.
I would not hesitate. I have certain limitations right now as I'm getting my American convert my citizenship. I can't leave just yet, but when I can, I'll be on the road.
So see you soon then.
Salut.
Bye bye.